For quite a while, I have been looking for a good NVMe external Thunderbolt enclosure. These have been on the market in various degrees for a while. Due to some kind of industry limitations, there hasn't been a whole lot of variety. They've all essentially been the same thing, and none of them have really worked that well. One of the big issues with NVMe enclosures, and I have actually a couple here. This little SanDisk one, and then this one, this pluggable one. I've had this one for a few years. I bought it on Amazon, and it's worked fine. I think it claims to do like Thunderbolt 3 or something like that, but in reality, it only ever does like 10 gigabits per second. And the real bottleneck of these things is that the NVMe drives, it's not just magic, right? Like, you don't get just free speed. There's a reason why NVMe drives are so much faster than even a SATA SSD. And it's because they generate a lot of heat. Like, that speed generates a lot of wasted electricity in the form of heat. They get really hot, and I found that they begin to thermal throttle pretty quickly unless there's adequate cooling. And most of the time, there's like not adequate cooling because I guess people don't expect to use them that much or something. I don't know. They just get really hot. So I was thinking to myself, what would my ideal NVMe external enclosure be? And it would essentially be this with a gigantic heatsink mounted to it, right? I was thinking like, could I make my own? Could I design my own? Traditionally, Intel had the market on any Thunderbolt chips, and so that was kind of the only option you had, and it was what it was, and they even had certain bugs. Apple has developed their own Thunderbolt controllers, but obviously those aren't available to third parties or consumers at all. So just recently, some new chips have been available on the market. Some new Chinese manufacturers have been making their own NVMe chips that do, specialized things very well. I'll link to some Reddit threads that discuss the various chipsets and Thunderbolt chipsets that are available on different docks and enclosures, and it's kind of interesting to dig into that. And they all have different kind of features and limitations. But kind of one of the new devices on the market that uses one of these new chips is this from Otherworld Computing, OWC, the Express 1 M2. This is a line that they've had for a while, but if you can see there, it is a bus-powered USB 4 USB-C enclosure for NVMe M.2. So if you're not familiar with the terminology, Thunderbolt 4 and USB 4 are the same thing, which means theoretically they can do 40 gigabits per second. I have that correct. It's a little bit confusing. That's one of the reasons why just recently new chips have come on the market, because USB 4 is an open standard, whereas Thunderbolt was proprietary to Intel and had to be licensed, which means it made it expensive to adapt and adopt. So now that we have USB 4, which is an industry standard that is fully compatible with Thunderbolt 4, now we can have kind of third-party chip manufacturers start implementing their own silicon. So that's pretty cool. And what this thing is basically just a chip with a gigantic heatsink on it. I haven't really looked at it yet, so let's get this stuff out of the way and open it up. So the thing itself, little USB 4 cable, a little screwdriver, Phillips, and a rubber foot thing. And I guess that's it. They sell these, you can buy them with SSDs pre-installed, but obviously they're going to use quality SSDs. I already have a decent one that I'm just going to put in this. It's nice. I'll actually probably get my scale, but it has a very nice weight to it. I mean, this is obviously milled out of a solid piece of aluminum on the top here, so it's essentially just a heat sink. And here on the bottom, we just have 2 screws, so hard to go wrong with milled aluminum, but I don't know, I've seen it messed up before. Okay, how do I get this off? Oh. Okay, check that out. Wow, yeah, so that's the top. It's just a big chunk of aluminum with a thermal pad on it. So I'll put that off to the side. Here's the PCB. As Media. Yeah, they are a silicon company. They've been around for a while. probably have their chips in some of your products. And it looks like this is compatible with 2230, 2242, and 2280. And I actually like that it has a solid screw down as opposed to just some of these rubber things, which, like, I mean, I don't know, you're not going to be taking it in and out. So let's go ahead and pop this out. Yeah, I guess I'll take the screw out. It's magnetized, that's nice. Okay. Now, I looked this up, and I spent a lot of time researching this. Should you remove the sticker on the SSD if you're going to be putting a heatsink on it? And the answer is no. Supposedly, the stickers are special thermally conductive stickers that are designed to be left on there. It has this little symbol, a yellow triangle with like 3 lines in it. And supposedly that just means like hot. So I don't know if that means that like don't touch this because it'll get hot, or if that means like this is designed to emanate heat. Anyways, it doesn't really say. I'm gonna leave it on. That's what I read you're supposed to do. Now let me figure out which way this orients. It's weird, it's got these like cutouts for something that's not present. See if I can just get it to slide together. Okay. Okay, I'm probably going to wait to put that sticker on until I plug it in here and just make sure it shows up. So let me do that. Alright, let's look at this. Thunderbolt USB 4. So it shows up here. Otherworld computing. It says the speed should be up to 40 gigabits per second. I have it plugged in directly to the MacBook. Normally I would plug it into my docking station, but just for benchmarking I thought I'd plug it into the computer directly. Well, this is the speed comparison between the internal SSD and then the previous external SSD with that same HP drive in it. Yeah, I don't know what it's called. Black Magic Disk Speed Test. Let's go 5 gigabytes, select target drive, scum NVMe. What I wanted is to be able to just leave this plugged in 24/7, and that is, by the heat and the consistency of the speed, that is what I'm getting. The other one would slow down. Let's actually pull that up again. Oh, that's the internal. I was like, oh, fudge. It's actually slower. Oh, I guess it's not like slower. It's the same. It's a lot faster to read though. Yeah. Interesting. Just took a little quick look at this OWC Express 1 M2 NVMe enclosure. It can do USB 4 40 gigabits per second, although your mileage will greatly vary and you'll probably never see 40 gigabits per second, at least not anytime soon with the current consumer NVMe drives. But still, the features of this is really the enclosure. It's made out of a solid block of aluminum, able to dissipate a lot of heat really well, keep that NVMe drive nice and cool. Thank you for watching. Leave me a like or a comment if you have any questions or if you like the video. Pizza review. This is a slice of Costco pizza. It is approximately 1 hour old, relatively unscathed, although it looks like the pepperonis have conglomerated slightly. Let's give it a bite. Decent amount of grease. The very tip is room temperature, almost cold. I don't know what happened, it glitched out. Pretty good. Decent crunch on some of the pepperoni. So one more bite. Definitely 3 out of 10. I'm gonna regret this tomorrow morning.